For this bracelet, you need the bottom of a cotton t-shirt. It still needs to be in a tube. A scrap piece of another t-shirt or jersey knit fabric. A scrap piece of fusible fleece. And a piece of HTV scrap. I typically cut my HTV first, so you need to upload the file to whatever design software you have, trace it, flip it horizontally so that it cuts correctly on the heat transfer vinyl, and send it to be cut. You've prepped the design file, now it's time to get cutting. Grab your scrap of HTV and apply it to your cutting mat. Remember, the shiny side goes face down onto the mat. Then, send it to your machine and let it do its work. Now that the cutting's done, it's time to weed your design. If you are working with a larger HTV scrap, go ahead and trim it up to about a 2 by 2 inch square. Then start weeding. With this design, you'll want to make sure you pay attention to the O's and the A's. Also, I use a piece of freezer paper sometimes to help me hold the scrap so that I don't touch the transfer paper. With our mantra ready to go, now we get to prepare our bracelet materials. Go ahead and take the tube of t-shirt material and cut a 3/4 inch strip. Then you want to take your contrasting material and cut a 2 3/4 inch by 3 inch square. Finally, you're going to cut your fusible fleece. In this case, you want a 2 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch piece. I typically cut a couple of them just so I have an extra. This bracelet is made from 2 main pieces, the wrap piece and the mantra piece. So first we want to make the wrap bracelet. Take the strip of fabric that you cut from the tube and just start pulling. Stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, and then test it on your wrist to find a final wrap that works for you. The wrap bracelet is done. Now it's time to put the mantra piece together. For this, you'll need your fabric square and your fusible fleece. First, set the fabric square right side facing down on your ironing board. Then, place the fleece centered in the square. Remember, the rough side of the fleece faces down. Turn the piece over and iron it gently so that they fuse together. Now you need your fabric square and your HTV mantra. Place the fabric right side up and use the fleece as a visual cue for the mantra placement. Put the mantra on the fabric, then cover the design with your pressing sheet or parchment paper. Then use your iron to press away. I also like to remove the transfer paper and then do one last press to make sure everything is secure on the fabric. Depending on the size of your mantra, you may need to trim the fabric piece. I always start with a slightly bigger piece of fabric for this bracelet so that I have wiggle room after adding the mantra to make sure it looks exactly how I want it. In the case of the transform design, you will likely need to take a 1/4 inch off of each side. To finish the wrap bracelet, we need to sew the mantra piece onto the wrap. To do this, you take the mantra piece and thread it through the hole of the wrap bracelet. Line up the edges and then tug a little bit so that the piece will be snug against the wrap. Then take your sewing clips and clip the edges to secure them, and you're ready to sew. The mantra fabric is basically just a tube encasing the wrap fabric. So what we want to do now is use the presser foot and bump it up against the wrap bracelet and let it use the bracelet as its guide. The clips keep the fabric from moving, and all you need to do is to get the seam as tight to the bracelet as you can and then follow the curve. Make sure that you don't sew the piece directly to the wrap because it won't be easy to turn it around once you're done. All that's left now is trimming the excess fabric. So take your rotary cutter or scissors and trim close to the seam. Then finger press the leftover fabric open and twist the bracelet so that the design sits where you want it.